I never really set out to be a designer. As a child, I was always into creative things, dancing, ballet, singing, theatre productions and things like that. And when I finished school, I went to art college, and that's really where my fine art journey began. I've continued to practice over the years. So over the last 20 years, I've continued to exhibit and maintain an artistic practice. And it's probably only been in about the last 6 years that I've sort of stepped, I guess, 1 foot into design in terms of producing product and manufacturing. The work in Hightide is a collection of wallpaper and textiles called Falling Leaves. It was probably about 10 years ago that I started using a lot of pattern making in my own artwork, creating digital prints that reference textiles. So about 6 years ago, I thought it would be really interesting to, rather than comment on textiles, to create some. And it seemed a natural, kind of harmonious collaboration of materials to work with wallpaper and textiles. And again, here the idea wasn't so much about creating the product, but it was how can I communicate the story I want to tell, which is the connection that I find we have between decorative objects or surface design in our interiors and how we make a space in which we feel we belong. So that's why I called the project Making Place, and the result was Falling Leaves. It's actually from a traditional damask motif, and the damask motifs have been used for centuries in wallpaper and textile design. So I've taken one and started to deconstruct it and then build it up throughout the pattern. So the pattern forms like a kind of lattice where you'll have the image, it breaks down, it kind of rebuilds, and you get this sense of these almost leaf-like shapes falling. So that's where the name came from. It took me a long time to even consider making product and manufacturing something on a larger scale, not just from coming from an artistic background where it was all about making a one-off object and the storytelling inherent in that, but it was about making volumes of stuff and is it necessary. Once I started to do some research on it, I realised I could make wallpaper that was made from sustainably forested paper. Could be printed with water-based inks. So I had I guess a more sensitive approach to, an environmental, or addressing those environmental concerns. And for the fabric, it's made from wool and bamboo, which are both renewable resources. And I had the fabric made here in Australia. So again, and the wallpaper, so working with local manufacturers and with materials that can be renewed. So I felt that at least then I could offer something as an alternative, which was more sensitive to the environment and leave less of a footprint on the planet, I guess. Probably the biggest challenge that I've found, for myself, and I guess this might be across Australia for designers, is manufacturing, having access to people to manufacture, what you want to make, to the quality that you want to make it, and the affordability of it. So it was quite costly for me to produce the fabric, but I made a decision, at least as part of the Making Place project, that I wanted to do that here. But it has priced my product really out of the market in terms of it being used a lot by interior designers and architects, simply because of that cost factor. So I would like to think that the more that we can support the manufacturers that are here, the more we can build the business, but I think it's very, very boutique still at this time. Over the years, more people have chosen to stay here and invest in Queensland, invest in Brisbane. So there hasn't been such a kind of going to art college and leaving and, either going south or overseas. So I would like to think that that's going to remain, and I guess more partnerships with other businesses, with other industries. So there would be more of a symbiotic relationship from the early stages of projects.